Let us not forget everything that happens. It's by the will of Allah. Holy will. It's time to unite and stand, and we will be the best amongst men. It's not time to be extreme or do the unthinkable, but to stand together as one. Tune into Sunnahfollowers, streaming every day, various platforms. Trust me, you'll find a way. Sunnahfollowers.
How the book looks. When you go to Atlee online to buy the book, it's the gray book. This is a picture of the book right here on the right-hand corner. That's a picture of the book. And again, that's the address, www.adleeonline.com. And let's take a look at the hadith for tonight. This hadith speaks about how as Muslims, we should not punish any of Allah's creation, including ourselves, with fire. And this is important because there's a lot of Muslims who don't have a will. And if you don't have a will in America, what's going to happen? When they bury you, they're going to burn you. They're going to cremate you. Cremation is haram. It is haram for a Muslim to be cremated. So you guys need to have burial insurance. You need to get in touch with someone and get some burial insurance going for yourself. Let's take a look at this hadith. This hadith is narrated by Ibn Masud. He said, we were once traveling with the Prophet, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and he went to relieve himself. While he was relieving himself, we saw a bird with two of her babies, and we captured the babies. We took the babies away from her. The bird then rose up and began to spread its wings, and the bird began to call. You know, that call, the sound that birds make, chirping loudly. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam had finished answering the call of nature, and he said, Subhanallah, who upset this mother? Who upset this mother regarding her young? Return her young babies to her at once. So the companions returned the babies back to her. And that's when the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, we're punished for oppressing an animal. Even the animals we have to be kind with. And we talked about this today in our 6 o'clock class. One of the characteristics that we all should be working on as Muslims is becoming more kind and friendly, not only in our relationships with our families and neighbors, but even with the rest of Allah's creation. Ibn Masud tells us of another incident that happened too. He said, we saw an ant village. We continued. This was the same journey. This was the same journey that they were on. He said, we also happened to pass by an ant village, and we burnt it down. And the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, who burnt this ant village down? And we said, we did. The Prophet said, don't you know that it is not proper to punish any of Allah's creation with fire? Only Allah has the authority to punish with fire. So, when you look at the politics that's going on in the world today, which you shouldn't be looking at it, really, you see Muslims calling themselves fighting in the way of Allah and all of this stuff, but they're burning people, torturing people with fire. This is haram. We cannot torture an animal with fire. We cannot even torture a cockroach with fire. So what would the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam say if he were living today and saw many of the Muslims around the world torturing people with fire? This is a horrific sin in Islam. Also, cremation is a horrific sin. You guys remember the story that Allah tells us in the Quran of the man who committed so many sins that when he was about to die, he told his children to burn his body and scatter his ashes out in the sea, thinking that he could escape the punishment of Allah. After his children had obeyed him, Allah gathered that man's ashes and brought his soul unto him. And Allah said, who told you to cremate yourself when you know that this is something that I have forbidden? And Allah would have punished him had Allah not known that the reason the man did it was because he feared Allah so much. He was so afraid to face Allah for the things he'd done. So as a result of that, Allah forgave him of all his sins. So you Muslims who don't have a will, you better get one. Cremation? No, this is against Islam. You've got to be buried in a grave. And for the Muslim children listening to me, don't punish, don't play with animals by burning them. Don't light a match and burn a fly. Don't light a match and burn a mosquito. Don't pick up cats and put them in microwave ovens. Oh yeah, this is something that some of the little kids used to do when I was growing up. They take a cat, put it in a microwave oven. Subhanallah, we don't do that. You're going to answer to Allah for that. Only Allah has the authority to punish with fire. And he will punish us on the day of judgment with fire that we can't even perceive of. So this hadith brings many lessons to us. Number one, that Islam has come to introduce and promote mercy, not just for all mankind, but for all of Allah's creation, the animals, the jinn, the plants, the animals, to go outside and burn the grass for no reason. You want to set the grass on fire? This is a sin. Grass is a creation of Allah. Who told you to burn the grass down? Subhanallah, who told you to burn that tree that Allah created to serve a purpose? So Islam tells us that we have to learn mercy. And this is the third week of Ramadan. We should be working on mercy, being more forgiving of ourselves, being more kind to Allah's creation. And also as Muslims, we learn from this hadith that we don't take the babies of anyone for no just cause. You don't take a baby from his mother. You don't distress an animal that way. You don't distress human beings that way either by taking people's babies. Islam is about justice. Islam is about righteousness. And we also learn from this hadith that we don't go around scaring animals either. Why do you want to scare somebody? Why do you want to scare a mother? You know how dramatic that is for a mother to think she's about to lose her babies? Don't scare Allah's creation. And again, never, ever, 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 ever punish or exterminate any of Allah's creation through the use of fire. And finally, don't kill any harmless animal, not an ant, not a bee, not a fly, unless there's a genuine need. That doesn't mean that because you have cockroaches in your house, you don't kill them. No, cockroaches are pests, and we're supposed to get rid of them. The Prophet ﷺ said, be careful of the pestles, cockroaches, ants, flies that come in your house. When they come in your house, then you have a need to get rid of them. Because if you don't get rid of the spiders that come in your house, they're going to hurt you. They're going to bite you. They're going to bite your baby. They're going to cause cellulitis or some other disease. If you don't get rid of the cockroaches and the flies and the nets in your house, this is going to lead to filth. Okay? So if they come in your house, that's something different. But for you to go into their environment, like the companions did in this hadith, they were out in the woods and they saw an ant tree, a home that the ants lived in. That's the ants' home. They burnt it just to do it, just to be cruel. This is what we do not do. If you're hunting for birds because you want to eat, that's different. We have the right. Allah created the birds and stuff to service us. We can go hunting to provide food for us, but just to kill for fun, we don't do that. You're going deer hunting just because you enjoy killing deer. This is haram. There has to be a genuine need to kill an animal. Does everybody understand? Either they are in my house, which can cause me and mine harm, or I need them for food, for protection, for shelter. That's different. So this is a wonderful hadith for us to ponder and to implement as we embark upon the third week of fasting. As I talked about today, Islam, the month of Ramadan. The month of Ramadan represents kindness. It's the month of kindness. This is a month in which Allah is more kind than any other time of the year. So we need to implement kindness in our lives too. All right, I'm going to stop right here. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilaik. Are there any questions?
I have a question.
Yes.
So genuine need is basically you don't want the animal in your backyard having babies, or if you don't want them and nowhere around, you get them, get out of here, or set traps for them so they won't come in your yard. That's the genuine. Okay, I see.
No, without genuine need means for fun, just to do it like the companions did. They went in their area. We don't live in the woods. The ant did. They went into the ant's house and for no reason burnt it down just because they thought it was funny. That's what I'm saying. You don't do stuff for sport and for fun. Like people go deer hunting. People go duck hunting. They go duck hunting not to eat the meat, just to say I killed 10 ducks. And they show their trophies for fun. That's what this hadith is speaking about. Killing for fun, for the sport of it, for the fun of it, unmercifully. That's not the same as having a reason. Because they in my house. Anything that come in your house, you take it out. Male, woman, jinn, or animal. Or tree. Tree grows up through your toilet. What you gonna do? Take the tree out. Okay. But even when we take a tree out, we don't use fire. You cut it down. Don't use fire. Okay. Everybody understand that hadith? Because you got some Muslims that think, oh, we can't kill spiders. Oh, it's just a cockroach. Let's just pick them all up and try to take them outside. Girl, you out your mind. You better go get you some Raid. You better call the exterminator and get some Raid. Everybody understand the difference? All right. Okay, any other questions or comments?